That seems way too deep to be a little hairline crack. Oh, Blaine Gray, Plastering For Beginners, and today we're going to patch in this corner unit of the room. Now we've already done quite a lot of prep already. We've took off some coving from the top, we've removed some batten that was here before. This is where an old boiler was housed. We've scraped off, and we've also reduced this area where we've got some foam. So this is what we've got. Got this section that needs packing in. So this is raised to the plasterboard area there. We've got to feather this in to the existing wall, and we've got to feather in the ceiling. So we've got quite a lot of feathering in to do and quite a lot of patching to do, but the question is it really necessary? Not really. There's going to be some built-in wardrobes built in this whole area. What I'm doing is totally irrelevant, but I'm going to show you some tactics on building out an existing plaster. We're going to sort out that big hole over there. And then we're also going to feather into this area along with the ceiling. Obviously they need patching in. So, despite it being a bit pointless, we're going to do quite a bit today. So we're going to PVA this first. We're going to do water down coat first, PVA. Blitz it on, wait for it to dry, and then we're going to do the coat of 3-to-1. Now, the first coat is 5-to-1, the second coat 3-to-1. So when you PVA onto fresh plaster, it dries rapid. I've not long put that on and it's pulled in very fast. Which is why if you're just skimming onto it, I advise you do 2 coats. That's almost like the primer. The plaster pulls in all the moisture from that first coat. The second coat will stop the suction. So PVA'd that, got that done. We've got this epic crack here that's running right along the wall. Now, usually, I'd probably hack this area off and start again, because that is definitely gonna come back. It feels it's way too deep, and I have mentioned to him to get it looked at. Like I said, this whole area is going to be covered, so the best I can do really is put some scrim tape on. All the little cracks I'll cover up, but that to me would be concerning. That seems way too deep to be a little hairline crack. But again, it's all going to be covered, and they just want it plastered. I've mentioned it. Sometimes the best thing you do is mention it and do as you're told, so put scrim tape along there and then plaster it. That's the best I can do. Okay, so this area is wallpaper. What I need to do, I've got to feather this section into that. So we need to cut a bit back. So what I like to do is allow for 100mm, at least, to be honest. I'm going to cut a bit further, to be fair. Take your straight edge, cut a nice line with your Stanley knife, and wet it up with a brush, and then we'll scrape it back, because that gives us room to feather the plaster into this wall. Again, I'm going to be re-skimming all this anyway. So strip back, and then it gives you room to feather into. So we've got most of the room prepped. We're now going to be floating this out. So what we've got is obviously a raised section from there to there. But what I always do before I start is I check it. But running to end, it's just in the centre. It's literally just going to be this centre here that needs packing out. Maybe up to that point. There's a few areas where it needs it, but I'm just going to be focusing on floating that middle section here. So what I'm going to do is mix up some bonding. I'm just going to get rid of stuff in the van actually. I've got loads of half bags and whatever, so I'm going to mix them up and then just get that bit floated. So we're going to apply it and then rule it off, get it flat. We've got the plaster mixed up. It's just going to apply it directly on here. Again, aiming for the centres. And don't worry about getting it flat. Our job is just to get it on for now. That section's on. I'm going to use a 1.2 metre derby, and we're literally just going to it's sagged off. Wait a minute, that bonding was really slimy, falling all over the place. So I thought about it, I was like, why is it doing that? I've gone to look at the bags I've used, and it's a good month out of date. So if you are going to use some plaster bonding that's in the back of the van, check the dates first. Luckily it's held, it's stuck, but it was a bit slimy. So check your dates, because sell by dates on plaster is true, and I never go over it because stuff like that happens. Reel it back. Good thing about derby, you've got the handles. So there we've got that section flattened. We're literally just going one way. I'm going to fill in any areas that are left behind, but that for now is done, flattened. Well, the same stuff. The hardest part here is going to be getting this wallpaper off. It's a nightmare. Just as the bonding's starting to harden up, we want to float it. This is a devil's float. Basically, it's a float with some nails in. So these are screwed in and they're leaving a 2mm gap. Let me show you. Gap like that. You've literally just got them protruding through. So then as it's taken up, turn you a little bit. Put your float straight to the wall. And then figure of 8 motions, we're putting a key into it. I go up straight along the edges. And that'll straighten up the internals. And then here, I literally just... And what this does is it flattens the bonding whilst giving it a key ready for plastering. So it's a two-way thing. It gets even flatter whilst providing a key. So that's that area floated up, ready for plastering. I'm going to give that a bit of time to dry and then we're going to get straight onto it. Do you know what the worst part of all this is? The fact that this needs to be chased in for a plug socket there. So not only am I patching in something that's going to be covered, but I've also got to come back to patching that. So seems a bit backward. So now we've got to a point where the plaster's pretty dry. The backing coat, it's a touch hard, it's still a bit soft, but we can plaster onto that. So we're going to get his plaster, mix plaster up, get these two on, and then get the ceiling on. I totally disagree with patching. Because wherever you patch in, and I'm going to patch into this existing bit of wall here, you will always see that join, always. And when you get a bit of natural sunlight, streams in, you will always see that join, no matter what you do. So there's one thing I will never do as a plasterer is patch. Unless, you know, the customer really wants me to. But I always recommend you do the full wall. Patching to me is a big no-go for any plasterer. If you've got a section like this, I wouldn't plaster into it. I'd do the full wall. That's my 2 cents worth. Whether it means anything, I'm not sure, but I'm going to mix up some plaster now. I'm going to get these 2 areas on, plaster the ceiling. I'm going to show you, after that, how to patch it, even though I totally disagree with it. I hate patching is very time consuming. So for example, where we're meeting up to this wall, we're going to put a little trail in, pull it up, there's bloody cables in the way, hold onto that, and you want to leave a faint trail behind. So what you do is you fade it out to nothing with your trowel. So just feathering it into nothing, it just slows you down. I mean, this cable in the middle of the wall doesn't help. Not only will you always see it, it just takes a lot of time to do. Whereas if this wallpaper was off, it's not a big area, I would have just plastered it all in. So we feather this in, and what we're going to do is wait for it to dry a little bit and add a load of water and then trail it out to nothing. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Just going to put the rest of the wall on. So the second coat of plaster is on. We've got the area in. Just going to focus on how to deal with this now. I'm going to give it a quick flat, but as I do, I'm going to show you how to blend this into nothing. Okay, so you've got your plaster, and you've got it pretty tight into that corner, but you want to saturate it with water now. So really blitz it. That water is going to really thin that plaster out, so I'll do another patch again. You can see now I had to take so much wallpaper off because you want to allow that space to blend it in. And then you're collecting the fat, fill it back in again. And then all you do is just repeat that process. You just keep adding water to that section, keep finding it out, and eventually you'll get a nice faded bit of plaster. Coming to the later stages of plastering. Now we want to be really adding water to that blended section, so I'm really going to hose it down now. Put a bit of water on the left side I'm working from as well. I'm going to sweep all the way through now, holding this out of the way. Now what we're doing is troweling into it, and we're going to blend it further into its right. Adding more water as we go. I'll be tempted to trowel upwards as well. By saturating that bit of plaster, it's allowing us to feather it further. So if you've got any spots that are missing, pick up fat. I've got a little bit here. I mean, you can see how much time you can take just feathering this angle in. When in theory, we'd better off doing this whole wall. Let me just show you how big this wall is. It's tiny from there to there. So in reality, I'm showing you how to feather in, but this is my number one big rule in plastering. I hate patching in plaster. I'd rather just do the full wall. I'd rather be honest with the customer and say it's the inferior way of doing it. The best way is to plaster everything you've got, and that way you've got no joins, it's faster, and you get an overall better finish. So now they've got to try and take this off and patch that bit of plastering. Like I said, I will be plastering this whole room. My number one rule in plastering is I don't patch. It's a worse off product, it wastes more time, and ultimately it's, in my eyes, worse for the customer. That is how you patch in plaster, and that's how you get it fade in, but in my opinion, plaster the whole wall, the better thing to do. So that's that area completely patched in. But if you want to learn the right way to plaster, not do the patching in way, click this video here and that'll show you the correct way to plaster a wall with all the best guides on how to do it. So do that now, do it right.